Alright, so go ahead, Bob. What we talked about before is we're trying to get this club going through the hitting zone. That one you hit just right there was a perfect shot. Very good spin on the ball, and very good club head speed. One of the things we noticed is that when you're trying to move, you do not have any problem getting back in your turn and getting that club head speed moving through. One of the only things that I noticed, and I just noticed this on the TrackMan when we were looking, we showed a picture of your swing, is that when you have that miss where you turn and you get the ball on that, or the weight rather on the back foot, just go ahead and set up to the ball for me. Get in your natural stance position. And what I want you to look at is that when you come back, so just go back and I want you to hold the backswing. And what I want you to do is I want you to come down for the impact without swinging through, but stay on that back foot completely. What happens to you is because you have that elongated swing when you come around, you tend to reach through with those hands, and if you notice, when you do that, the club face is pointed in that direction. So it's pointed down and to the left. And what we talked about is that was that miss that you had where the ball would go out, and rather than having that, nice ball flight, straight shot, you would get that down and to the left. And what I notice, and this is just from that one part of that swing, is that part where your hips are not clearing all the way through and you're staying on that back foot. So what we want to do is to try and eliminate that. What we want to do is take a couple of practice swings, and what I want you to do with your routine is I want you to change that routine to making that practice swing. So when you come back, I only want you to come back only up to about hip, and then I want you to practice coming through onto that front foot as much as possible. I know that we talked about the fact that, due to some back issues and due to some muscle issues in the calf, sometimes maybe that's a little bit of an issue for moving that back. So what I want you to do is I want you to come back just only to about hip, then come through, and let's try to see how comfortable that is with that swing. So just with the practice swing here. Feel comfortable? Does it feel like you got enough balance on that front?
Yeah, I think so. I think it does, yeah.
So what we want to do is I don't need you to make that turn, quite, as I said, you've got plenty of club head speed. So I don't need to get quicker with the turn to get over onto that front foot. What I want you to practice doing is I want you to practice on that back swing, trying not to come back. So go ahead and set up. I want you to practice trying when you make that back swing to come back, to only come back into the inside of that back foot. So don't have the weight come all the way. In other words, if this were my back foot, I want the weight only to come to the inside front portion. So I don't want you to actually come over so that the back part of that foot, the outside edge, is more touching the ground. And the idea behind that is that that's almost like as if you were a baseball pitcher. We talked about this in tennis, that sort of thing. That when you go to make that shot, it's pushing off of the inside of the foot, not the outside of the foot. So let's try to make a couple of practice swings. I want you to stay on the inside of that back foot.
Short swing.
And then try to come through. Yeah, just on the practice swing. Let's see if that can give us, I notice that it looks like it gives you a little bit more balance.
Yeah.
And let's see if that gives us even a little bit more power.
All right.
Go ahead. Yeah, very nice result. Right straight up the middle. You notice that we got our spin rate a little bit better. And that ball speed is just, it's about the same. So it's not really giving you anything more, but it does hopefully eliminate that downward motion where you kind of come from the inside. The only other thing that I looked at, and I looked at this when we talked about the fact that the grip might be something that we might want to change. Just go ahead and grip the club for me. And just take this hand off. I just want to see this glove hand. And one of the things that I look for in a swing, especially if we're trying to actually change that, is I look for this, and I want to see just a little bit of space. I don't want, if a lot of people when they grip this club, grip this back here, so that there's not really much space between the forefinger and the thumb on the shaft.
Yeah.
And one of the things, especially as you get older, is when you start to lose that, I like to try and make sure that we're elongating that thumb. And if we elongate that thumb and get a little bit of space in there, if you notice when you do that, it should give you a little bit more flexibility in your wrist and be able to give you a little bit more, just a little bit more catch when you go to be able to swing. So what I want you to try and think about is trying to elongate that thumb so we can get just a little bit more kind of whip into that swing.
The
And
space
that's-
between
yeah,
here
just-
and here.
Yeah, just a little bit. I don't want you to try and outstretch it at this particular
Yeah.
point in time, but it's something to kind of think about.
Okay.
And hopefully that'll give you a little bit more flex in that swing and be able to just give you, where we're talking about not going back quite so much onto that back foot, I don't want you to think that you're still not getting power. So if we do this, that should help us to be able to get a little bit more hitch up on the top of that swing
Yeah.
and be able to get a little bit more power. So let's kind of give that a try and see if that gives us just a little bit more of the power that we're looking for. Notice the height on that ball,
Yeah.
much more carry on that ball,
Yeah.
and our spin rate is much better.
Well, yeah.
So what that's gonna do is that's hopefully gonna add a little bit more of a dimension to your swing
Yeah.
and be able to give you just that little bit of extra power without having to come back quite so far with the turn.
Mm-hmm.
And it hopefully allows, like I know that your ball flight generally is a lower penetrating ball flight.
Yeah.
And what we'd like to do is we'd like to get that ball flight up just a little bit higher, get the trajectory a little higher, and get that ball to carry just a little bit further. And that's how we're gonna get that distance.
Good.
So go ahead, give me one more.
Yeah.
Same thing, I want you to set up, keep that alignment in there.
A little off.
Again, nice ball flight though, good ball speed on that. A little higher spin rate.
Yeah, it was just.
One of the things I want you to try and do is, this is where we start to get a little bit off center with this, is being able to try and continue, as I said, that turn. So what we're gonna do is try and keep back to that same focus. I want you, when you make that turn, I want you to start with that half swing. So
Okay.
half swing and then focus on coming right back up onto that pivot leg.
All right.
Practice swing, then we go right into the main swing. Now right into that main swing for me. Get that thumb elongated. Once you're set in there, it's go time.
Oh.
A little bit of a turn.
A lot better carry.
Certainly more carry, but the carry was out to the left,
Yeah, A
right?
little out to the right. To the right.
And what that is that's just our path.
Yep.
So in order to change that path and make sure that we're on the right side, an easy way to do that, go ahead and stand in there. We can easily take a club, put that down here, and make sure that we square our body up. So squaring that body up to that target. Go ahead and step back. I want you to give me that one little practice swing up onto that front foot. Good solid contact. We got a little out on the heel just a touch.
Yeah.
So this is where trying to make sure that when you consistently push through on that target, what I want you to think about is if I'm over here and I'm standing on this side of you and I come up to here, I want you to actually push this hip just a little bit into me when you make that swing. Stretch it out. Give me a practice swing. And then we're gonna put this all together. One nice solid swing.
All right.
Excellent job. Nice shot. Very solid swing. Notice the carry, notice the continued roll on the ball. It gives you not only a very, very good spin rate,
Yeah.
the carry was up on that one,
Yeah.
ball speed was up on that one, and the club speed was up on that one. So in order to get those numbers consistently up, I don't think that the focus is really off of the alignment. I think it's just trying to make sure that you keep squared.
Yeah,
So the things that we looked at are keeping the feet square to that target line, swinging the club down that target line.
mhm,
The first is the grip, making sure that we have that thumb just elongated just a little bit so we can try and get that little bit more hitch in the back of that swing.
yeah,
And then trying to keep the power alive in that swing. And the main reason we're trying to do that is number one, for balance, so you don't get stuck on that back foot. The other is to try and see if we can't get a little bit more short in that swing. So a little more narrow in the stance, right? To keep that turn.
yeah,
And then keep the weight on the inside of that back foot. So the inside of that back foot when we turn, and then you're pushing off of that back foot to get that release up there. And that should help you to be able to stabilize that swing. One thing you'll notice, we didn't have any of those shots go down and to the left.
Yeah.
And that's what we were trying to
and
avoid.
you know, that pushing off the right, it really does feel different than what definitely does.
Yeah,
Cause I know I'm going over
yeah,
to the outside of
yeah.
my foot.
And it was clear, at least for us on the pictures.
Yeah. So now I'm getting that plant in here, and it is a real push from here,
Yeah.
coming from the ground.
But I think that you get a good
Yeah, I
enough
like that.
motion and a
Feel
really
it.
good swing that you
Feel
should
it.
be able to kind of keep that inside there and
Yeah.
still get plenty of power.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about that. Good job.